charged. I'm going to be joined right now by Rear Admiral Mark Montgomery. He's the senior fellow in the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. He's joining me from Washington. Rear Admiral, I have a question for you in terms of that. The Espionage Act, it's not exactly an easy thing to be charged with. You have to have a lot to be charged with the Espionage Act.
Well, that's correct. So I imagine that they've been monitoring communications for some period of time, and they have the kind of evidence they need to prove the more serious crime. And so, these things, if you're smart, especially given where these men were assigned and their access to more lower level intelligence, I think there's a level of comfort with probably waiting to access enough evidence to charge them with a more serious crime.
So, Admiral, you were in charge of a lot of troops, young troops. These guys are 20, 21. Let me look here. I think one of them is 26. The other one is 22. At that age, influenced by some guy with an envelope coming to you, I'm sure that you had to deal with some of those as well.
That's right. And if you think about the case recently with the specialist in Massachusetts, there wasn't even money involved. It was, having a sense of belonging to a group, and that you had some special access, that made you unique, can have the same effect. And I will tell you that there's a lot. We give a lot of responsibility, whether it's controlling aircraft on a flight deck, releasing weapons or access to classified material, to very young men and women. Like most democracies, our militaries are based in a constant throughput of personnel that requires very young people to have this kind of access. So it's not surprising that they're only 22 or 23 or 26 years old and have access.
One of the minor, I shouldn't say minor, it's actually one of the factors involved here is that one of them was a naturalized citizen. He was a Chinese born naturalized citizen who was looking to apply for citizenship in the United States when he was approached. Well, he was allegedly approached, I should say. It's a very strong word, allegedly. What does that say about where the Chinese are going in terms of trying to find people in the military?
But, listen, we've always had a very strong, program of allowing immigrants into the United States military. We've had relationships, with the Navy, particularly in the Philippines, for over a century. We're very comfortable with that. It's one of the ways of demonstrating your commitment to your country, and it, historically has given you easier access to citizenship. And I think those programs should and will continue in exactly that way. We have a responsibility to our counterintelligence people to thoroughly vet people when they join. And we'll have to see what the specifics are in this case. But I would hope this has no effect on our desire to recruit immigrants. And I'll be frank with you, immigrants with strong STEM backgrounds, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, are the most desirable. So,
but I'm talking, if I may, before, I know we were short on time, but if I may, I think the issue is that the fact that the Chinese are actually targeting them, and it's not the other way around. I'm saying the Chinese are targeting them specifically.
No, that's a great point. You're absolutely right. And look, historically, when you look at who the Chinese have successfully flipped, so to speak, it's a large majority Asian American, but not 100%. They've been successful with everybody. But you're absolutely right. I think the Chinese do naturally, go for make this attempt. With Chinese American citizens. And we just have to I think probably it requires that the military do a better job preparing new recruits as they go through boot camp for this eventuality. But you're absolutely right. There's a propensity for Chinese intelligence services to approach Chinese Americans. And I imagine some Chinese Americans, because of family that are in China and things like that, might be slightly more vulnerable. So we just need to brief them and prepare them in a way that they succeed.
Great. Retired Rear Admiral Mark Montgomery, thanks again for joining us live from Washington. Thanks again.
Thank you, sir.